to unpack something absolutely wild. It's one of the most fundamentally fascinating pieces of modern kinetic sequencing out there. On the surface, the new TV kindergarten learning song we're looking at today, it kind of just looks like a simple, cheerful tool for teaching toddlers about numbers and going down a slide, right? But when we actually stop and really break down the lyrics, we uncover a profoundly complex blueprint. It literally maps out how potential energy transforms into kinetic reality. Today, we're deconstructing this seemingly simple text to understand the very mechanics of anticipation.
8 words, 8 syllables, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ready, steady, go. This is our foundational text. It is a monumental piece of sequential literature that dictates the exact parameters of human movement. Specifically, the journey from absolute stillness at the top of a children's slide to the exhilarating release of gravity. This single, unpunctuated phrase governs the entire physical and psychological arc of the experience.
So, I really want you to ask yourself, what does it actually take to initiate action? We do it every single day, right? But we rarely stop to consider the deep psychological weight of transitioning from mere counting, which is just a passive, abstract concept, to actually acting in the physical world. How do we cross that threshold? Well, what you should take away from this explainer is that action is never spontaneous. No way. It requires a meticulously constructed runway, and that runway is exactly what Nunu TV has engineered for us here.
To understand the release, we've got to first understand the buildup. So, Section 1, the sequential foundation, building the blocks of logic.
It all begins right here, integer 1. This is the absolute baseline genesis where potential energy begins to form. In the context of our Nunu TV universe, just imagine the animated child sitting right at the top of that bright yellow slide. 1 is the realization of existence in that physical space. It's the void being filled. It is the steady, rhythmic starting block from which all subsequent logic is going to flow. And then we hit integer 2. See, 1 is an isolated incident, but 2 establishes a pattern. The very moment 2 is introduced, the sequence is forced into a deliberate progression. The viewer, the listener, the participant, we're all locked into an expectation now. You literally cannot hear 1, 2 and not immediately anticipate what's coming next. The mathematical trap has officially been set. Which brings us to integer 3, and this is where an unbreakable logic really takes hold. We are now crossing the structural midpoint of our numerical foundation. The rhythm is completely undeniable, the cadence is locked in. At this stage, turning back becomes psychologically impossible. The momentum of the sequence is carrying us forward, step by step, inch by inch, closer to the edge.
4. Notice how the tension is mounting? This mathematical sequence is pushing precariously close to its absolute limit. We're accumulating potential energy with every single syllable. 4 is that deep, holding your breath moment before the final step. The sheer, unavoidable tension of 4 demands a resolution.
And here we arrive at the numerical zenith, integer 5. This is the final heavy integer, the literal edge of the cliff, the very top of that bright yellow slide. 5 is the absolute peak of numerical accumulation before a fundamental shift must occur in the nursery rhymes universe. You can't just simply say 6. The context of the playground slide demands that the rules of the universe change right here, right now.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Seeing this progression from step 1 through step 5 reveals this unbroken linear momentum. What this brilliant structure does is create a massive, inescapable buildup of anticipation. Every integer is like a tightly coiled spring, winding tighter and tighter and tighter, ensuring that the eventual release is as explosive and impactful as possible.
Now notice the profound structural revelation here. It's a really sharp contrast. On the one side, we have passive numerical accumulation, 1 through 5. It's rigid, it's predictable, it's just abstract counting. But on the other side, we have active imperative commands, ready, steady, go. We are suddenly ripped from the safety of mathematics and thrust into the dangerous, thrilling world of physical demands. The transition between these two states is exactly where the true genius of this text lies. Which brings us to section 2, the liminal space, ready. We have left the numbers behind, but we haven't actually moved yet. We are suspended in a state of extreme suspense.
So, how do we define ready in the strict Nunu TV universe? Well, it is the vital bridge between passive counting and future kinetic action. Ready is an internal state, you see. It's the psychological awakening. You've finished counting to 5, and now your mind must snap to attention. Just like the character positioning themselves at the very edge, you grip the sides of the slide. You align your posture. Ready is the exact translation of numerical anticipation into physical awareness.
But awareness is not enough. You must lock it in. Section 3. Calibrating the system, steady.
So the crucial point is this. If ready is the internal preparation, steady is the external physical lockdown. It holds the entire kinetic system in perfect, unbearable balance. The muscles are tensed. The alignment is perfect. Steady is a super fragile calibration. It's that microsecond of ultimate stillness right before gravity takes over completely. It is literally the bowstring pulled back as far as it will physically go.
And now the dam breaks. Section 4, the ultimate catalyst, go. The numbers built the pressure. Ready set the intention. Steady locked in the target. There is only one possible conclusion to this meticulously crafted sequence.
And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate, spectacular release of all the potential energy. Go! Just as we see in the animation with that thrilling splash at the bottom. All the mathematical rigidity of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is instantly vaporized. The careful calibration of ready and steady is completely surrendered to momentum. In the Nunu TV universe, go is the joyous, uncontrollable descent down the slide. It is pure kinetic realization. It is the absolute payoff for all the structural tension we just analyzed.
But as our explainer comes to a close today, I want to leave you with one final, kind of provocative question. Once you experience that incredible rush of kinetic release and reach the bottom of the slide, are you inevitably led back to 1? Think about it for a second. The joy of the release almost always sparks the desire to climb right back up those stairs and start counting again, doesn't it? It forces us to ponder the beautiful, potentially cyclical nature of Nunu TV's nursery rhyme. Does action always reset to counting? Does the end of the slide simply mark the beginning of the next sequence? It's a really fascinating concept to keep in mind the next time you initiate any action in your own life. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and remember, keep looking for the structure in the everyday.